looks like we're all present and correct, so I will hereby call the meeting to order at 5:01 p.m. This is the Easton Housing Authority, Tuesday, March 8th, 2022 meeting of the Board of Commissioners. It is being held remotely by a GoToMeeting. Let's see, I'll do a roll call. Commissioners, Tebow?
Here.
Burrows?
Here.
Dennis Sheedy?
You say Dennis?
Yes, Dennis? Dennis?
Here, sorry.
Chris Ann Sheedy?
Here.
And Pam Whittup is present. So we have a quorum, all five are present. Let the records show that Executive Director Kathy Steiger is present, and the meeting being recorded by Community Access Television. We have no callers on the line or visitors to the meeting tonight. The first item on the agenda is the approval of the budget for the fiscal year ending March 31st, 2023. And we would like to welcome our fee accountant, Dan Robillard from Milne Shaw and Robillard PC, who is here to present the report to us.
Good afternoon. Nice to see you all again. Hope everyone's doing well. Give you a quick overview of what the state's proposing this year. They're allowing you to increase your operating budget 4%. And additionally, they have a couple of exemptions to add in. So you're going to actually increase your budget 4.3% this year, which is $32,000. With the 4% cap increase, you're allowed to give out 4% raises. Additionally, you're also doing a new executive director salary schedule, which that number has been budgeted also, which is a little bit better than 4%. We can see that exactly when we go look at the salary page. Bottom line, your reserves are almost max. Your $580,000 is, I think, what you're going to end the year at, which is 97%. We're going to try to get that down about 5%. Hopefully lose $28,000 and get down to 92.6%. That'll still be $550,000. Quite a healthy reserve. Like I said, if you end up over max, you lose subsidy. So we want to do everything we can every year to make sure we stay under max. Additionally, because you're so close to max, they keep trying to take your reserves to help pay for mods. They've done that this year. They're talking about doing it again. Hopefully we're in a position at the end of this year to be able to tell them they shouldn't take it because our reserves are below max. We'll see what happens. Highlights. Legal is budgeted at $4,000 because DHCD has removed some of the legal pilots from the regional pilot attorney program, and they're giving you subsidy for it if you spend it. You don't get it if you don't spend it. And in Easton's case, you weren't even included on the list, which was just an oversight. So based on what other comparable housing authorities your size are getting, we're asking them for $4,000. We need to be treated like everybody else that used to use Pat Grace. And if East Bridgewater and Hanson are getting $4,000, certainly we should be getting at least $4,000. Additionally, my contract's up, so I'm looking for roughly a 4% raise. Maintenance labor is going to go up substantially because we're going to add another half a body. That's pretty good stuff that you have that much room in your budget that you can bring on some more staff. And we're not doing it just for this year. It's something you should be able to do permanently. The key is the person's only going to be the position's only at 18 hours, so there'll be no health insurance. So we should be able to control how much that position cost us. Insurance went up a little bit. Property insurance went up about 7%, but workers' comp actually went down to offset it. So our insurance is almost flat. It's going up 1%. Benefits also stayed pretty flat. Health insurance didn't go up that much, and your retirement bill actually went down a little bit. Not sure why, other than the market was doing good a couple years ago, and that's where they're getting their information from. They're always a year or two behind, as they have to be. look at the market today, that would certainly not be the case, but whatever the retirement bill is what you have to pay anyway. So we're just fortunate that it's a slight decrease and covered most of the health insurance increase, which wasn't too bad either. So the consolidated program, we're hoping to bring in $1.1 million in income, including then add 113,000 in subsidy. We're going to spend 1,181,000 in routine expenses and utilities, another 11,000 in non-routine, and then 55,000 in betterments, which we'll look at in a moment, to generate a $28,000 loss, dropping our reserve from 580 to 552, which still be over 90%, but we would at least be under 100. That should keep DHCD from touching your money. The second page is the Section 8 program. This is just an internal budget. HUD doesn't do a Section 8 budget, but we're doing one so we can account for all our activity. We think you're going to bring in $135,000, which is almost all HUD admin fees, a little bit of fraud recovery. They're going to pick up their fair share of the salary increase. We're picking up some additional admin other expenses, mostly related to the consultant. We didn't have much budgeted for the consultant, but we're using them more because our staff that works on the Section 8 program is relatively new to that program. So I would encourage you to continue using the consultant until all your staff feels extremely comfortable. You have the money to do it. We think you're going to lose about 10 grand this year, but you have $160,000 in your operating reserve in Section 8 that you can't use for anything else except taking care of the office expenses. The reason your reserve got so high is you got the COVID money each of the last 2 years, and we didn't come close to spending it either year. So the thought is we'll spend some of it this year and probably again the next couple of years. Hopefully admin fees catch up to our expenses by then. But like I said, you have $160,000 because of what COVID did for you the last couple of years. So I feel very comfortable suggesting that you lose $10,000 next year in order to have all the staff that you have. The third page is just the rent calculations. This helps determine subsidy. If rents are higher, subsidy will be lower and vice versa. Page after that's the subsidy calculation and your operating expense level calculation. We have retiree exemption of 37,000 that comes out, then you get a 4% increase, then the retiree exemption's added back in. The regional legal pilot program replacement for 4,000 is in there as an exemption, which they should approve. They gave one to everybody else, just for some reason, Pat Grace forgot to put you on the list. It was that simple. And then stovetop fire stoppers. DHCD is giving you $45 per unit to put one of these in above each and every one of the stoves you have in your units. If you spend the money, you'll get the subsidy. If you don't spend it or all of it, you'll get what you spend only. If you spend more, it'll be limited to $87.30. After that comes the utilities. Works the same way as rents. If the utilities are higher than budgeted, you would get more subsidy. If less than budgeted, you'd get less subsidy. It's a dollar for dollar wash, just like the rents are. This just helps DHCD know what they're going to have to give you next year. Next page is the admin salaries, the new executive director salary schedule that you also have on. Actually, I think you already approved yours. Is that right? At the last meeting?
Yes.
So that's been budgeted. That's generating a 6.15% increase for the executive director. Then we're using the allowable 4% increase to increase one position 3%, 3.39%. The other positions being increased 6.5%, but not getting a 6% raise. The hours are going up from 28 to 30 and a 3% raise. If you remember last year, we couldn't squeeze in all 30 hours in the budget. We had to stop at 28.2 to be exact. This year we got all 30 hours in, and a slight raise. The two combined are increasing that position 6.5%. No increase for the administrative clerk. That person just started. We just replaced that person. So we used what would have been a raise for them to help cover the other two instead. The COVID money we had from last year obviously came out. That was a one-time expense. Next page is me. Go ahead. Any questions? I'll keep going. Maintenance positions. DLI letters just came out. These are the updated rates as of 3 or 4 days ago. They will be effective April 1st. Looks like they got an average of 2.5%, depending which one. Got a 2.2, a 2.9, and a 2.6. And then, most notably, there's a fourth position listed, an 18-hour groundskeeper, which will cost you $24,000. We were able to do that and keep almost all the overtime. We're going to cut overtime $300 to make that position fit. And then we still have the on-call money in the budget. And then the hazard pay that we paid the maintenance staff, just like the admin staff, that's been removed. That was a one-time expense.
Hey, Dan, can I stop you for a second?
You sure can.
Curious about the part-time maintenance person. I don't know, maybe I'm having a senior moment. Can't recall that we were gonna do that.
We were doing it for a couple of reasons. We have been meeting with Action regarding the air source heat pumps. And one of my biggest gripes with that was maintenance not having the time to take care of those pumps. And then having to contract somebody out would still tie up a maintenance person to go around with whoever the contractor would be if we decide to go that route to do the air source heat pumps. I'm having a feeling at some point they're really going to make it that we have to get these. It would be beneficial for the residents. So in doing that, we thought that that could be that person's basic responsibility would be to go do a rotating schedule and clean filters and take care of those where it wouldn't tie up an additional maintenance person. And also to just general janitorial, common area hallways on a regular basis, 18 hours a week. There are so many separate entrances and exits to these buildings. It would be nice to be able to have them kept up a little bit better than we've been able to.
Okay, just curious, we have the 3 full-time people, right?
Correct.
Yes.
But we technically have 194 state units.
Correct.
And I thought the old rule of thumb for the department was 70 units per full-time person.
Yes, but that rule's like 35, 40 years old. They have not.
Did anybody tell
updated.
them that?
Hmm?
Did anybody tell them that?
It's been mentioned a few times, and that's why they don't balk. If you can afford it and you want to have more maintenance staff, they never complain about that. I think they know it's an antiquated number too.
Many years ago,
A lot of people have gone over that formula in the past few years.
I was able to do it in Randolph as well, Chris. Many years ago, before I left, we had a part-time janitorial position that we squeezed in there, and they never said anything about it.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying they necessarily will. I'm just saying that that had been their rule of thumb, but obviously, yeah, it's old, and obviously they need to revisit
like
their own.
Pet deposits are still
Things.
160 from 40 years ago too. Like they haven't addressed anything in quite a long time.
Yeah, and they still think executive directors should be paid peanuts, but whatever.
Well, what's scary now is they think what they just did is going to be good for 5 years. We'll give you a 2% raise, but we're not going to look at this again for 5 years. Nothing's going to change in 5 years, I'm sure.
Oh, you're preaching to the choir, Dan.
It's ridiculous.
Absolutely. You will not get an argument from me on that one.
No. So the good news is you could afford to do it. She asked if I could find a way to fit it in, and I told her I didn't think so, not the full 18 anyway. I said, well, maybe I can get you 10 or 12. I'll see what I can squeeze in. And I was surprised to see that, like I said, I cut $300 out of overtime to get the whole 18 hours to fit. The key is to
How
stay under.
close are we to air source heat pumps?
Excuse me?
We just started talking with them.
Talking with lean program?
Action, yes.
I hear the original ones that people got are failing all over the place now. I have a client that just had one looked at,
That'd be me.
and they were told it would be cheaper to replace it with the new and improved ones than to spend $3,000 to open it up and replace the compressor or condenser, whatever it is. I'm not a maintenance guy, and put it back together. He said you can spend $3,000 to replace it, or it was like $2,700 to fix the old one. So, and I hear people are having them fail all over the state, all these original ones. Supposedly the newer ones are much better.
And they're supplying the newer ones of the higher, and they're allotting 4 years of warranty and maintenance on them.
But again,
Yeah,
so
they've
what
learned.
happens?
There's a whole
Yeah.
study out there by Greg Abbey of sustainability. They hired engineers just to study all the issues that have come up through all the other authorities with the source heat pumps. One thing I will recommend is hold the line and get Mitsubishis and don't get Fujitsu's.
No, they want high, right now they're working with Higher is the brand that they're using. I guess from research.
Do some investigating on those.
Attleboro just got them. I was gonna put in a call to Paul, actually.
And it's not just filter changes, it's cleaning the things. So whoever you hire is gonna need
Right,
to be
it's taking
trained
care
on
of
how to
them.
clean them.
And my guess is if they're gonna offer 4-year warranties on these new ones, they start failing in 5.
Mhm.
That's why there's a 4-year warranty. They know they're not gonna take, it's gonna last that long. After that.
We
it's a
haven't
roll
seen
of the
that
dice.
many failures. Our considerations and expenses have been in actually literally cleaning. Out of 135 that we have, we clean about 90 of them once a year.
My guess is the people that have problems with the failures probably don't have the time to get them cleaned. You know, a lot of them are in these small housing authorities. You got one maintenance guy that works 20 hours a week. How is he going to get to those 40 to the air source heat pump for those 40 units? Where's he supposed to find that time?
Oh, I contract it out. I don't have my maintenance
Right.
man
Well,
do it.
yeah. This is Plainville. They don't have it. That would be half the contract budget in a little place. They did
Yeah,
not take any of that stuff into consideration. They think $45 a unit they're giving you as an exemption for maintenance. That doesn't cover the filters probably. But,
I don't even get the exemption, but anyhow,
you didn't?
enough about me.
All right, we're on to insurance and benefits now. Like I mentioned earlier, property insurance went up, but nowhere near like it went up the year before. It went up about 7% last November, unlike the 35% it went up the year before. The other insurances held the line. Workers' comp actually came down a little bit. And then as far as benefits go, retirement actually came down a little bit. Group insurance and retiree insurance pretty much held the line. So we didn't have to absorb a lot of insurance or benefit costs, which made another reason why, surprisingly, that 18-hour maintenance position fit. They didn't need money anywhere else. On the next page is all the admin expenses. The most notable thing we did was we increased the Section 8 expenses by $3,000 to cover what really happened last year, which has a lot to do with the help we've been bringing in, the Section 8 expert that's been consulting with us to make sure we're doing things correctly with our newer employees. Last page is actually next page, not last page. It's the maintenance for the year. I think you're going to spend almost $56,000 in contract costs, and this is our best guess of how it will break out based on what we have been doing the last couple of years. Biggest expense is rubbish removal. Now we're on to extraordinary maintenance. First and foremost is the stovetop fire stoppers, because they're paying for them. That's the only extraordinary maintenance we plan on spending. I'm sure there'll be some turnover that's excessive beyond normal expense that will end up being added to this, but we didn't budget any. But you have 100% reserves or almost 100% reserves. Until you bring them all the way down to 35%, the HCD will let you do what you want without having to get their approval. If you ever got down below 35%, then you'd have to start asking permission for things that are not in the budget. but as long as you're up where you're at, you do not have to ask their permission. So if we have an apartment that has excessive cost, we'll just do it and charge it to non-routine. Appliances, we're guessing you're gonna need 6 of them at $500 a piece. It's literally a guess. Truck, we're gonna replace one of the 2 trucks for, we believe, about $50,000. I have a couple of clients that both recently bought trucks and did manage to get 250, a Chevy 2000, which I think is comparable to the Ford F-250, and the other one got a Ford F-250, and they got them for about $50,000. And the trailer is from last year. They're so back ordered, you haven't even been allowed to order it yet. So we're gonna try again to buy a trailer. That will mean you're spending about $66,000 in extra expenses. That's why you're gonna lose $28,000. So if you didn't budget this extra money, you'd have made $30,000 and you would be over 100%. And like I said, it's critical not to be over 100%, because the first thing that happens is if you're $10,000 over 100% at year end, they're taking $10,000 out of your subsidy, so you won't be. So we don't want that to ever happen, and we'll make sure that doesn't happen. Any questions? So you're very, very well off financially. Like I said, we're talking about making sure you spend enough money so that you get all the money you're entitled to from the state, which is our only concern here in Easton, is to get Easton as much money as possible, to do as much maintenance as possible, because there's never enough money for maintenance. I think there's always something more that could be done.
The majority of our subsidy we earn is for the treatment plant for the chemicals.
Yes, we didn't have the water treatment plant, absolutely. If we go to the utility page, the water treatment plant is under sewer, budgeted $110,000. Subsidy earned is $113,000. So absolutely right. If it wasn't for this, the water treatment plant, and we just had regular sewer, we would barely earn subsidy. If we were paying maybe $30,000 that you would pay the size you are based on what your water bills are, yeah, you'd be earning $20,000 in subsidy. That's it. Yeah, it's all, and we said that way back when the water treatment plant was going to come on board, that this is going to change who Easton is, and we're going to earn subsidy forever now because of it. And it's basically just because of that and nothing else.
Yeah, I was just curious if it had changed at all.
Now, the cost for the water treatment plant is held pretty steady, surprisingly.
I have a question for you, Dan. The $4,000 for legal services, I saw a bill to Jonathan Driscoll. It seems like a pittance considering what we could go in. Let's say we have a $10,000 case. Will they subsidize a $10,000 case?
They're only going to subs people to what they published on their list, and you're not even on the list, which we're going to point out. We should be on the list, and based on what the list has everybody else at, we should get at least 4, maybe 5. And we've already called IO, the finance person at DHCD, to ask this to be addressed. Now we're kind of forcing their hand by putting it in the budget, whether they want to address it or not.
Yeah,
we're forcing the issue.
It's
But
something.
yeah, I agree. You could spend that $4,000 on one case,
As far as
depending how much time you spend in court.
because if we are going to have, it would basically would just say, Kathy, ignore them violating the lease. You don't have the money to do anything about it. We again can talk about that. That was my one question. I do have some observations on the budget. I don't mind investing in maintenance. I think it's a great investment. I would like to see some results. I see the average turnaround day is over 50 days, Kathy, for the guys, according to your report. I'd like to see the reports on the work orders that they're doing. We have had that expense go up by 26% in 2 years if we bring on a new person. So again, I think it's a great investment, but I'd like to see some results. I think we need to invest a little bit into the office. This champ system is killing us. We can complain about it all together, but we have vacancies that are almost 6 months old. We need to address those. And then finally, like we're putting 60,000 bucks into a truck, which is great, but I'd like to see some improvements to that, to the grounds, or, we can't make the apartments any bigger, but we can make the common areas for the people nicer. Benches, I know you've done some of that. But anything we can do to make the whole atmosphere around the housing authority a better place to live for the residents. Those are more philosophical issues I have when it comes to budget, when I'm looking at a budget. Again, I have no problem with any of the investments into staff. I think they're great, but I'd like to see the results, I'd like to have a measurement to say it was a good investment.
And the good news is that when it comes to some of the other stuff, the grounds and stuff like that, don't stop with what was in the budget. Like I said, if you just do this budget, you're still at 92%.
Yeah.
You really need to get down to 70, in my opinion. I believe as long as you're still above 70, they have the right to ask you to contribute to your mods. So if you want to spend another 20, 30, $40,000 on other items, especially once you get into the summer and you see how the year's going to go for it. Or we're going to be right back where we were again, preaching, too close to 100, let's get down. So feel free to do more than that, what's in the budget. And the great part is you don't really have to get permission because of where your operating reserve level is now.
Yeah. Okay. What I had said, I was just a philosophy thing for the other board members to know where I stand on what I would support and kind of things I like to see. And
yeah.
But Kathy, one of the things I would, and you can, if you could, we used to get how many work orders were done and how many were completed. I'd like to see that again. I think we might have to defend what we do there.
Certainly.
And we do retain most of the landscaping in-house, correct? For like over the
We've
summer
had a
months?
lot of equipment to do so. Quite honestly, one of our maintenance guys is very good at it, and we have invested a lot of time and energy in the landscaping, reseeding, and getting loom and mulch and things of that nature. Last year, we did buy all new patio furniture in addition to benches for both Parker Terrace and Lee Circle. We worked on the gazebos. We had them painted. We are looking into also power washing some of the buildings. They really need it, but we do take a lot of pride in the grounds here, and I think that the grounds show that they do. Obviously not at this time of the year, but in the spring and the summer they do, and the residents seem to really get out and enjoy the grounds, so we will definitely look into that. As far as the vacants, a lot of these vacants have needed a lot more work than normal. They're very dated. I think the guys do a great job on turning them over, and these units are quite honestly spectacular when they're done with them, with the flooring and the painting and everything. So, but I will address the turnover on those as well.
This is just a statistical thing. And I'm only looking at a picture that you gave us. It came up to a little more than 50 days per turnover. I understand some might be 180 because of how bad they are. I think you have one offline. But
yes,
on average, you're going to have some that are going to come. I think one was below 30 and the rest were over 50. Can I make a motion to approve the budget?
Absolutely. Thank you, Tom.
I'll second that motion.
Thank you very much. We have a motion by Commissioner Tebow and a second by Commissioner Chris Anchidi to approve the budget for the fiscal year ending March 31st, 2023. We'll do a roll call, yes or no vote. Commissioner Tebow?
Yes.
Commissioner Burrows?
Yes.
Commissioner Dennis Sheedy?
Yes.
Sam Sheedy?
Yes.
And Widdop votes yes, so it is unanimous, 5 in favor. And we will now move on to agenda item number 2, which is our fee accountant's compilation report as of January 31st, 2022. Dan,
can answer questions. You can take advantage of my attendance, and if you have questions about the statements, this would be the month to ask them.
thank you, Dan. I was gonna say, agenda item number 3 is the other subject that that you mentioned that will come up. The contract.
Sure, I'll stay for as long as you want me.
Thank you, Dan.
Does anybody have any questions or anything I should address on the monthly statements?
We keep making money, Dan. We keep making money.
You do. Well, I've made it easy this year. Section
That's
8's making $23,000 because they gave it 29,000 in COVID.
That's why I was
That's why
talking
it's
about,
okay to lose some money next year.
right, that's why I was talking about where to spend it. I assure you, I don't have this conversation in Brockton. I do
I
not.
know you don't. I don't have this conversation very often anywhere. This is unique. You and Walpole.
Good.
Hearing no questions on the fee accountant's compilation report as of January 31st, 2022, I would entertain a motion to accept it and place it on file.
So moved.
Second,
Thank you. We have a motion by Commissioner Dennis Sheedy and a second by Commissioner Tebow to accept the fee accountant's compilation report as of January 31st, 2022, and place it on file. A roll call vote. Commissioner Chrisanne Sheedy,
Yes.
Tebow,
yes.
Burrows,
Yes.
Dennis Sheedy,
Yes.
and Widdop votes yes, so it is unanimous, 5 in favor. Okay, now we're moving on to agenda item number 3, which is the approval of the fee accountant's 2-year contract for his accounting services for the period of April 1st, 2022 through March 31st, 2024.
Dan still here? Oh, there you are.
Yes, I am. I'm dark in the background. I had to plug my computer in, so I had to move, and the lighting's not as good at this angle, so
I was just gonna say, maybe we'll
Just
go.
a
through
shadow
this
of
thing instead
myself.
4.
you could talk about me.
No, I'm kidding.
I would
I'm
like
willing to
say
come for
something
2
about-
more years. That's the good news.
Yeah, I would like to say something about you, Dan. I know that you're whittling your business down, and I'm appreciative that you have kept the Easton Housing Authority on as a client. You have been very loyal to the Easton Housing Authority and been a great resource. And with what DHCD has done and the requirements that they've put upon fee accountants to only pay 4%, I guess you said the increase was
Yes.
very, very reasonable. So I
Thank you.
support it wholeheartedly, and I hope in 2 years you're still looking as young as you do tonight, and you'll be looking to go further.
Somebody's kissing up, huh? Listen, I got really good news for you. I'm grooming my 28-year-old daughter. She thinks she might want to take my place, so she's been working with Kathy and I. So you might have a long-term solution. I'll just be in the background supervising. I can do that for many years.
Wonderful.
Yeah. I'm trying to figure out something. Cheryl didn't work out, so we've come up with a new plan. Because I don't know what people are going to do.
Mhm.
There aren't many fee accounts out there, and the groups are getting smaller, and there's just no new blood. Just like you can't find executive directors, can't find auditors. Pretty soon you're not going to be able to find a fee account.
I wholeheartedly support the renewal of Dan's contract with Robillard and Milne, Shaw and Robillard. But I won't. I'll let others make the motion.
Dan, could I ask you, I know I was on the board when you first started in Easton. How long has it been?
I think I've been here 10 years.
And I could echo
Maybe
Mr.
more. How long? This goes back to when Michael was when Mansfield was
Yeah,
managing you guys. So Kathy, how long have you been here now?
6.5.
Yeah, so it's got to be at least 10.
Yeah,
Could be
because Michael was
12.
there for 5 years. So, yeah,
Yeah, I'm gonna say it's been about 10 years.
Yeah, I could echo Mr. Tebow that, the service you've provided us over the years has been outstanding, and it's appreciated.
That's why it's outstanding. It is appreciated. We only do work for people that do appreciate us nowadays. We have so many offers all the time. I could add a client every month, and like Tom said, I've actually dropped a couple so that I don't have too much work, so we can do a good job with those we have. We recognize if you try to do too much, you end up just doing a poor job everywhere, and we won't do that. None of the three of the partners were willing to go that route.
Well, thank you for that.
You're welcome.
So I'll make a motion that we approve, gotta be here somewhere, the fee accountant's contract for services presented.
I'll second that motion.
Thank you. We have a motion by Commissioner Dennis Sheedy and a second by Commissioner Burrows to approve the fee accountant's 2-year contract for the period of April 1st, 2022 through March 31st, 2024. We'll do a roll call vote. Commissioners, Chris Ann Sheedy,
Yes.
Tebow,
Yes.
Burrows,
Yes,
Dennis Sheedy,
Yes,
and Widdop votes yes, so it is unanimous, 5 in favor to approve the 2-year contract for the fee accountant, Dan Robillard. Thank you.
thank you, Dan.
Thanks,
You're
Dan.
welcome.
thank you, Dan.
You're
Thanks
welcome.
very
Have a
much.
good evening.
Yeah,
You
too.
too.
So
Be
much.
well. Let the records show that our fee accountant, Dan Robillard, has left the meeting. The next item on the agenda is the February 2022 warrant in the amount of $152,701.31.
I'll make a motion that we approve the February one in the amount of $152,701.31.
I will second that motion.
Thank you. We have a motion by Commissioner Dennis Sheedy and a second by Chris Ann Sheedy to approve the February 2022 warrant. Are there any questions or comments on this report?
I just have one comment. This is what I was referring to earlier about the attorneys. Driscoll and Driscoll PC is here for almost $1,000, which I'm sure is much needed. But $4,000, you get a couple of cases that require some legal advice, and you're just going to run through that in seconds.
Yeah. And as you know, we've held off on quite a few cases due to COVID that now
can't-
need attention.
You couldn't move forward. So as this breaks, I don't know whether, I guess the state's just turning it back over to you and I guess leaving us without any defenses whatsoever.
Correct.
We were talking about this at Mass Narrow today, and a lot of people are expressing their dislike of this new system and the ceilings that have been put on the amounts that you can spend, and that we absolutely miss the ability to just pick up the phone and have ask a quick question, send an email to a Pat Grace or some other regional attorney. And the authorities are definitely unhappy with this change, but I don't think the state's going to go back to a regional attorney setup.
This is something that I know Dawn and Pam, I don't think you're members of the Mass Tenants Association, but usually we're taking legal action against a resident who is harming the peaceful enjoyment in a complex. So if we can't address that, if we don't have the resources to do that, that means that becomes just, I guess, accepted, that type of, behavior. And one peaceful enjoyment type case where a person's harassing a neighbor or harassing the community can cost tens of thousands of dollars. So that's where I think we have to push. The residents have to come back, and I'll talk to Jack Cooper a little bit about it. I know DHCD does listen to him a bit, but it really, I go home every night. I don't live next door to someone who's doing stuff like that. Well, if they do, then I guess I don't know what I do. But, in an apartment complex, you have people very, very close to you. And it's not 99% of the people are fine. It just takes one or two to cause an issue. And the only recourse the housing authority has is to go to court. To go to court, you have to have a lawyer standing next to you. And they don't come, they're not inexpensive.
No.
But I sort of took it out of place because that was on the bills. That's what made me concerned about it.
Yeah, and not only did Easton get skipped for the amount of money we would receive legally, Easton didn't get on the list for the free COVID tests either. I don't know where they just keep forgetting Easton. I don't know why.
Mr. Tebow included us in that count apparently, so we have to go pick those up.
Yeah, come
Yeah,
and
but
get
you
'em.
initially weren't there, which is like they got a block in their heads about Easton, no money, no tests, no love.
Don't know that. They usually try to fly under their radar, so maybe that's it.
Just weird.
Yeah.
Are there any other questions on the February 2022 warrant?
I'm all set.
Good.
Thank you.
Hearing none, we will do a roll call vote to approve the February 2022 warrant in the amount of $152,701.31. Commissioner Tebow,
Yes.
Chrisanne Sheedy,
Yes.
Don Burrows,
Yes.
Dennis Sheedy,
Yes.
and Woodard votes yes, so it is unanimous, 5 in favor, approving the February 2022 warrant. The next item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes for the February 15th, 2022 special meeting.
I'll make a motion to approve the special meeting minutes of February 15th, 2022.
I'll second that motion.
Thank you. We have a motion by Commissioner Dennis Sheedy and a second by Burrows to approve the minutes of the February 15th, 2022 special meeting. Are there any questions on this or comments on these minutes?
I'm good.
Okay, we'll do a roll call vote. Commissioners Dennis Sheedy,
Yes.
Burrows,
Yes.
Tebow,
Yes.
Chrisanne Sheedy,
Yes.
and Woodard votes yes, so it is unanimous. We 5 in favor to approve the minutes of the February 15th, 2022 special meeting. Next is agenda item number 6, the approval of $14,345 change order request number CP03 on the Barrow Street project number 088078 for a failing deck, entry stairs, and landing.
Kathy, could you tell us a little bit about why they're doing this?
Sure. There's actually 3 proposals in there. One was for an added receptacle in the kitchen in accordance with building code. There wasn't enough distance, so they had to put in another receptacle in the kitchen outlet, and that was $475. And then the new tub would not line up with the drainage in the bathroom, and they had to relocate the drain. And we set that in the bathroom, and that was $3,170. And then it was discovered that the side entrance of this house has an actual deck with stairs, and it wasn't attached to the house, and there are no footings underneath the deck. So it's less expensive to tear the deck down and just put stairs in. And actually it would add a little more space in that driveway because the deck imposed on the driveway slightly. So they're going to take that down and replace that with stairs.
And the 14,000, that's within our CIP.
Yes, it is. The decking and the demolition and reinstallation of the decking, and it won't be wood, it's going to be like a Trex. It's going to be a man-made product, is 10,700. And going back and forth, they thought that this was very reasonable.
Reasonable by 2022 COVID standards.
Yes.
Kathy, could I ask why this wasn't part of the original contract? Why it became an add-on for such a large addition, you know?
Because there wasn't anything that was discussed during the project. We were looking at a kitchen and bath renovation. And then it came to light that the deck was creaking when we were out there. And when they looked upon further investigation, they realized there were no footings. These are just pieces of, it's a deck. It's probably, I'd say about 3.5 feet off the ground. There's a couple of steps that lead up to the main side door to the house. And they're just sitting on the driveway. So it behooved us to do this now where we already had a job in place, instead of trying to go out to bid this where these contractors are able to do this type of work. And as with any of these jobs, Dawn, you know, we have the house doctors, the architects come out from DHCD, they do design work, that's their expertise, and this wasn't looked at because it wasn't anticipated to be a problem.
Yeah, I just feel that something like that should have been obvious at the beginning, you know? Thank you, though.
You're welcome.
Do we know, Kathy, who did the original installation?
I have no idea on that.
Or was it something that tenant did, or you don't know?
Oh, no, it's been there. It could have been past maintenance for all I know. Really not sure.
Okay, I'll make a motion to approve change order in the amount of $14,345 for project number 088078.
Second,
Thank you. We have a motion by Commissioner Dennis Sheedy and a second by Commissioner Barrows to approve the change order number 3 on project number 088078, the Barrow Street renovations. The amount of the change order is the amount of $14,345. All those in favor, I'll do a roll call. Commissioners Tebow,
Yes.
Dennis Sheedy,
Yes.
Chrissy-Ann Sheedy,
Yes.
Burrows,
yes.
and Widdop votes yes, so it is unanimous, 5 in favor.
And can I just
I'm sorry, go ahead.
say the signatures on the bottom of that change order, wasn't that what we were discussing last month that was missing? Or was that substantial completion?
I don't recall.
So we were concerned that nobody else was signing off on it before we did.
This project wasn't on substantial completion.
No, I think last time we were looking for the architect to give us some explanation of the work that was intended to happen. And
Okay.
that process has changed somewhat
Yep.
because of Cap Hub. But this time it looks like we got some explanation as to why these change orders were being proposed and that they found them to be within reason.
Okay. Thank you.
That's my recollection. I could be
Yeah,
wrong.
it was a different job. I can't Yep.
Was a different job.
I know it was a different job. It was just, those signatures were not there. That's all. Just asking.
Thank you. The next item on the agenda item number 7 is the DHCD award letter of $47,260, which is funded from the Public Housing Compliance Reserve for the asbestos removal in the Elise Circle Community Room renovations project 088075. Do you have any comments on this?
I have one. I'm glad they came through with it. And Kathy, thank you for following up. I do agree, though, with Pam that a letter from her is not unwarranted. I understand that they should have done it in the first place, but I always think my employees were doing what they should have done. And we just said that Easton isn't on their mind. I'd like to have them on their mind for something positive. So, and Pam wrote the letter, so I support that.
I made the mistake of not requesting from the commissioners that it be placed on the agenda for a meeting for us to vote. Is that something that we should do at the next meeting?
We've often voted on things that have happened positively. Someone makes a donation, the Boy Scouts come in and they do a project, and we vote, send a thank you note on behalf of the Housing Authority. Again, you wrote it, Pam. It's very nice, well written, comes from the chair. I don't see what harm it would do. I do understand. See, we have too many people who are in the industry here who get beaten up every day by these people, so it's hard to say thank you. And Pam, you don't, so you have a different perspective, which is very good. And again, but that was just my opinion. I understand we should have never had to go through this whirl around, but that's my opinion. I know it's not shared by everybody.
If I may, the only reason we received the funding is because I called them up and was arguing with them. If I didn't open my mouth, we never would have received it. They would have just passed us over. So I was a little miffed with them and a little angry with the fact that they told us we'd have it, then we weren't having it, and then I had to call and argue with them regarding it. So I feel like Easton's just left out a lot with them, and there's no need or any excuse for it, and I don't understand. So
your frustration is completely understood. I understand, Kathy.
Crickets.
I don't think there's any action on this, is there?
I don't know. I think we'll just move on. Myself, I'm going to just move on to the next agenda item. I'm going to defer that one or table it. I'm not sure of the right term. The next item on the agenda is the Executive Director's Report for March 2022.
I'd like to point out that we only had 11 vacancies, not 12. Pan brought to my attention that I left Unit 75 Parker on this report when it was in fact leased. I'm also happy to report that 136 Parker will be leased on the 10th, as will 86 Parker. That's also going to be leased on the 10th. We have an accepted offer at 26 Elise, tentatively to be leased on the 15th. 44 Parker was leased today. 56 Parker was refused. So we'll have to go back to the drawing board on that one. And that was just an error. The person can only do a first floor. It's a second floor unit. They went in and changed it on the system, and Now they said they can do a second floor. However, they already refused the offer, so that one's back to the drawing board. And 104 Parker was leased today. 14 Parker, I had that there was an offer out. That was an error. There was not an offer on that one yet.
I had one comment on that, Kathy, and this is not a negative comment whatsoever. I'm just more curious. It seems
Mhm.
like some kind of dam broke, and all of a sudden, offers, acceptances. What, do you know what happened?
We're getting closer to people on the list in this vicinity that want Easton in particular. As you know, when you pull the list, you get all sorts of communities. This one, we've pulled many lists, so we're dwindling down our list and we're getting closer to people that in particular want Easton. And we got a few veterans, which we're very happy to house at any moment. So that was beneficial. And of course, we're actually screening a lot of the same people others are screening. And we just wound up with the luck of the draw on a couple of them.
But no, I saw the same thing in Abington today. It seems like a little, I didn't know if it was what Mass Narrow's doing, or if you've just, because we're just trading out, as you said. So that's good news. I'd like to get down to some normal numbers.
Right, and hopefully this will keep continuing because now that we have a less list, for instance, this lady that refused the unit based on her handicap will now be pretty close at the top of the next list. So that screening's done. So with any luck, we'll be able to get her on the next poll and be able to house her on the first floor. And ultimately, now that we're down there, Dawn's going to hopefully, she got research to do this week, do another list poll, and we'll have Chieko send out all the information and we'll get moving on that one. And hopefully it would be nice to really just have one or two here and there.
Yeah, I was wondering it.
And then the rent rolls would do phenomenal too, as well.
And Champ is about to go through a purge, so that
Yes.
will be lovely.
Mm-hmm.
And Mass Narrow's handling pretty much all of that as well.
Right.
Isn't Dawn a great, creating a little kingdom there, huh? A little. She's doing
Yeah.
a great job.
Yeah, absolutely. We met with the fire alarm people and the fire safety official and the building inspector regarding the panels here. I actually was going through and improving the permits today. There was discussion on whether they could do it as one permit. And they can't. They have to pull a permit for each individual building. So that's going to be a bit of an expense on that project. We were hoping that the town would only have us pull one permit, but we have to pull 13 permits for that. They're expecting the panels in by June. This contractor has a great reputation. We've met with him a couple of times. We're really confident he's going to do a good job. He had even indicated to us where they're going to be doing trenching. If there's any other trenching work that we're anticipating, that he would be more than happy to dig the trench and wait and have us install whatever we needed. That being said, we're hoping to tie in the generator replacement job. And with any luck, he'll bid on it. And that might decrease the cost of that since he'll be trenching anyhow when we can get the new generator going. Fingers crossed. I'm working with John Murphy on that. He was supposed to be able to get it in central register last week, but his computers, I guess he had no internet. Something happened in his shop. So we're hoping this week to get that bid out there and get moving. And with any luck, we can maybe try some of that together and get those two jobs. We have a lot of jobs going on at the same time. My head's spinning, quite honestly, with them, trying to keep them all straight. But it's good to be getting the work done. Just a matter of getting the supplies in.
Almost too bad we didn't wait a few months on the fire alarm thing, because probably you'd get APA money to pay for it.
Yeah,
But no, now it's gonna come out of our CIP, which is fine.
Yep, we
Get it
needed to.
done.
The panel, they are having trouble finding parts. They have been, and we can't have that fail. We just had to move. And on the lease community room, we're good to go. We're just waiting on the subs to complete their paperwork with DDC, the awarded contractor, and hopefully we'll be moving very quickly on that as well.
Excellent.
I'll make a motion to approve the executive director's monthly report for March 2022 and put on file.
I'll second that.
Thank you. We have a motion by Commissioner Dennis Sheedy and a second by Commissioner Tebow to approve and place on file the executive director's report for March 2022. We'll do a roll call vote. Commissioner Burrows,
Yes.
Dennis Sheedy,
Yes.
Tebow,
Yes.
Chrisanne Sheedy,
Yes.
and Widdop votes yes, so it is unanimous, 5 in favor. The next item on the agenda is any questions, comments, or concerns? We don't have any guests at the meeting, so
One comment, I believe, Kathy, this is our last meeting that we can do by remote, correct?
I don't know if it's last, but that's totally up to the board. I think it's until June. I was under the impression it was until June, but that's totally up to the board.
Maybe I'm remembering last year's, I thought it was April 1st. Chris, do you know?
I just got something from Wayne Beitler at the town because we're organizing an affordable housing trust meeting. And I thought it was he said either June or July was the end of the remotes.
All right. I stand corrected.
But we could certainly, we don't have to wait. And
I would be willing to meet in person.
Same here. I would be willing to meet in person.
We did briefly there before the latest variant, so.
Yeah. So, well, hopefully we don't jinx ourselves again, but I'd be willing to. Springtime's coming. It's going to be light later. Wonderful.
And I
I
know
think it would be a positive move.
some of the residents are more likely to participate if we're there than if we're online.
Absolutely, for certain.
Commissioner Burrows, did you make a comment? I didn't hear.
Yes, I would agree to meeting in
You
person.
would be in favor of it as well?
Yes.
Okay. Should we take a vote on this or?
No, we can just meet in person. That's fine.
Okay. Okay, then we will, our agenda item number 10, scheduling the next meeting for April 12th, 2022, which will be a live meeting at the Parker Terrace Community Center at 5 p.m. Tuesday, April 12th. Is that date good for everyone?
no.
No, I think we're on vacation that week. Sorry.
Where you going?
I should have said that before you started all that.
Because I've been just looking at the calendar going, uh-oh.
You want to do the 19th?
19th, I believe, is fine with me.
It's a day after Patriots Day. That's fine with me.
Yeah, we either go forward or go backwards, either one.
Can do the 5th.
Either-
19th?
19th, which is better for you, Tom and Don Burrows?
What date now?
April 19th, Tuesday? The week later?
Oh, that's fine, but I thought I heard someone say the week previous too.
Either
Oh.
one.
It just gives you, Kathy, a little more time to get stuff together, right?
Correct.
Yeah, 19th is good for me. Yeah.
Okay, well, I'll take, so it appears the consensus is that the next meeting will be scheduled for April 19th, Tuesday at 5 p.m. at Parker Terrace Community Center. Let's see, I think, do I need to take a vote on that? No, okay. Okay, I think it's time for an adjourn. It's 6:06 PM.
I will make a motion that we adjourn.
Second.
We have a motion by Commissioner Chris Sheedy and a second by Commissioner Dennis Sheedy, was it?
Yep.
To adjourn the meeting at 6:06 PM. Do a roll call. Commissioner Tebow,
Yes.
Commissioner Burrows,
Yes.
Commissioner Chris Sheedy,
Yes.
Commissioner Dennis Sheedy,
Yes.
and Widdop votes yes, so it's unanimous. We will adjourn the meeting. Thank you, everyone. See you on April 19th at Parker Terrace Community Center.
See you then. Thank you, people. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Have a great night. Thank
Thanks.
you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Yeah.